We are live. All right, we are at the Oxford Sports Pub and Secret Society here in Altamont Springs, Florida. This is You Can't Make This Shit Up. My co-host, business partner, Joel Hawksley. Shout out to our producer, John DeMaria. I'm David Washington, and welcome.
Well, thank you. You know how hard it was for me to keep my mouth shut for that long? You know me. That's the one problem I have. Like, I talk too much.
Hey,
but
it's March Madness.
No, it's House Madness.
House Madness. Tell us about that real quick. Tell us. Yes.
Okay,
let's hear it.
So if you go to our Twitter,
yes.
I'm really focusing on Twitter.
Yes. What
I've done is I said, each one of these teams has a congressman up in the House. There's 435 congressmen.
Yes.
Now, unless they have two colleges that have made it in, I substitute. But I've used all of them to be the House Madness. And we're going to find out who comes out on top, because these are really incredible names. And if you know them, it's even better, because there's 435 congressmen. And some of the people that are in here is like Lou. I mean, and then Jackson, and I mean,
Jackson.
I'm talking Democrats that I'm like really hope they get defeated, and they're high in the rankings. But one of them at number 7 is really interesting because I think Ronnie Jackson,
okay,
good friend, good congressman. He used to be the doctor for Bush and Obama and Trump, and he's become the Trump guy, so they keep trying to attack him. They want to take they literally want to take his retirement away. Like, this is how bad people get when you get that close to Trump. So it's incredible what they do, and you can't make this shit up.
You can't.
So keep your eye on number 7 in the Midwest, because that is going to be Ronnie Jackson, and I'm going to say Ronnie Jackson all the way. No. Please get on our Twitter. Please share it, because this is fun.
Get your bracket. Check out the brackets. It's a piece. It was awesome what you put together. And check it out and follow the tournament. This is going to be great.
It was fun because, I mean, we had these really stupid, I'm sorry, NCAA. I don't get it. We had 16, and we had 16 against 16, 11 against 11 to choose which one's going to be 16 and which one's going to be 11. And you did that 2 days in a row. So you got the Final Four, but you got the Minor Four.
Right. They just want to get as many teams into this and, get it exciting, make it more than just
this to me, basketball, college basketball has to have exploded, because I don't pay attention enough. We only have 2 teams that have made it in, and that's FAU and Miami.
Yes.
Whoa! I was shocked, because
the Gators.
Where are the Gators? Where are the Seminoles?
I believe the Gators lost to UCF.
UCF. Well, UCF was
in NIT.
UCF women were in last year, so I haven't looked at the women's bracket. I apologize. I have not looked at the women's bracket yet, and that's just because it's Women's History Month, and I've been spending so much time with the women that it didn't dawn on me that they play at the same time. But everybody, please play the house. It's so much fun.
Go to the JNW Twitter.
Especially if you got one of your congressman in there.
Exactly. That would be really great. Great idea. And I'm looking forward to following.
Well, I'm not enjoying staying up till after midnight, so
We'll make this an annual event.
I might be throwing them. I might be throwing them up a little later, but no, I'll make it an annual event. I keep tagging everybody because I think if you're looking at your congressman, you happen to see this, you might go, oh, let's take a look.
Yeah, get people interested not only in the tournament itself, but also politics, and that's what we're all about. Politics and more civic engagement.
Yeah, but so I did the Congress because that I know
sure
is representative of all our nation, but it's also local because that's the most local you're going to get in Washington, D.C. So we start with Washington, D.C., and then we move down to our county. We're going to talk about Orange County today, and then we drill down to the municipalities.
Yes.
So you have a municipality called Ocoee. There's a lot of history in Ocoee, and they just had their election on Tuesday.
Yes, Ocoee and Maitland.
It's very interesting that they have it in an off year. So turnout's very low.
14%.
Very low. And it's probably 14% of the voters actually work for Ocoee because they smashed the mayor smashed that race. It's like he has 3 people and he's still, they all hate him, but he did a great job.
Hey, when the incumbent is running in a town like Ocoee or Maitland or Windermere or whatever, or even Orlando, you have to anticipate that incumbent has X number of city employees in their back pocket.
Well, I'm gonna also, I don't know exactly, and I'm gonna follow up because I just dawned on me that one of the candidates was running for mayor. It was a commissioner. Now you have to resign from the commission, so he's done.
George Oliver.
Yeah, so he's done, right?
Correct.
So they're gonna most likely appoint somebody. The city is gonna appoint somebody. And then they're going to turn around and the next step they're going to do is they're going to have an election. That special election should have been simultaneously. They should have done both elections. It cost the city less. And it would have truly kept Oliver locked out. Because now the city clerk basically opened it up. So it's resigned to run.
Right.
Okay, well, I resigned. I don't get to finish out this short period of time, and then I'm already running for my seat. So I want to check that out because the city clerk,
that is a loophole.
That's something that their charter should have addressed that. And when we talk about a charter, every municipality, every county, everybody has a charter, right? Our charter, it turns into a constitution when it comes up to the federal government or the state, but those are really just a different term for their charters. Because do you know what the first charter in the United States was?
Virginia?
Richmond, Virginia. So you got it. Yeah, and that's why they're a commonwealth. But
exactly.
So the next one was in Massachusetts. So
there you go.
I just wanted to get up there. So
with the specifically with the Ocoee. Well, let me talk to you about Maitland and Ocoee. We had municipal elections that were held this past Tuesday, the 14th, and turnout between the two of them was about 13%.
They were rocking.
And there were several referendums in Maitland that were voted on. And we'll look at that a little bit later. I think they have some relevance for the area in general, for Orange County, for Florida. But we'll talk about that another day. But for Ocoee, what disappoints me, and I'll have to, talk to my Democratic friends here, my Democrats, that it's disappointing the turnout for a specific candidate, Shante Munns, who ran for Congress. She lost to Congressman Barnaby Is it Congressman Barnaby
You're talking
Webster?
about Webster.
Yes. Yes.
Webster Barnaby would be the
Okay.
state senate.
I can't recall, but it'll come back to me. But she ran for Congress and she lost in
So
2022.
she would have been against Dan Webster.
Thank you, Dan Webster. Dan
Okay.
Webster.
Dan
Thank
Webster's a friend. So
you. Okay.
I thought
Okay,
that's who you were
thank you.
talking about
Yep.
because when you say Congress, I know you're directly going up to
Right.
those.
Dan Webster. She ran
Yeah.
against Dan Webster and lost. And so she ran for this particular seat. And then here's one of those peculiar things about the election law or their particular charter. She was not a resident.
She was
Of-
not a resident
she-
of Ocoee.
She was not a resident of Ocoee, where she announced her campaign for this particular
And of
commissioner
course-
seat.
And of course, she has to be by qualifying.
Exactly. She had to be a bona fide resident of Ocoee by qualifying, which was beginning January 20th.
Okay, so she
so
so
she
she
was
moves
able-
in. So she moves into a temporary dwelling,
Exactly.
probably the YMCA. I'm sorry, I
Somewhere.
have jokes all the time.
And,
right?
and there was some pushback about that. Say, some people felt that some strategists felt that coming into a county or coming into a town around election time, what are your intent? What is your intent? What
Well,
intentions do you have
you ha-
when you do something like that?
well, you have an agenda. Yeah, I mean, I truly believe you do have an agenda.
Mhm.
If you do something like that, well, she ran for Congress. I would have to look. Was that her first run? If that was her first run, it basically says she went too high. Somebody got in her ear and said, "You got to learn how to get your name recognized." And the next election just happens to be Ocoee. She decides, okay, I can become a county commissioner. Then from county commissioner, I'll get my name out there. Then I'll run for state house or something like that. But I'm going to try to get to Washington.
And I can see that if you have the right political minds behind you with the strategy and, of course, the financial wherewithal to run a successful campaign right after the heels of a congressional campaign.
Plus, you can use that money. See, now that takes it out of the federal. This is
Mhm.
this is beyond like that. This is grasping.
If you're,
at straw- this is-
you and I know
this
that
is- this is grasping at straw.
if you're able to raise
So
money during
if
that
you-
congressional
If you
campaign,
raised money and you didn't spend it all,
right,
you have a way to then transfer it. And when you
Mhm.
by transferring it, you now sit on a very pretty pot to go against somebody,
exactly.
which she must not have because she didn't win.
She didn't win. I believe she had about 24% of the vote. She netted about 167 votes. And it's disappointing. Another disappointing loss for the Democrats.
Well, the Democrats
again,
actually
it's
worked
again-
for her.
They did.
They actually door knocked. They
They
actually tried to
actively-
physically
yes.
tried to get physically out there trying to get her elected. Democrats, it's primarily a Democrat city. So it's surprising that you have a Republican in the mayor's seat. You had a Republican win again. So I mean,
It's in this election again is a barometer of where the Democrats are.
but they had to have done better in Maitland, right?
We'll
take a look at
we'll
that
take a look.
later.
Yes,
It did,
but the Ocoee election stood out because the Democrats were very vocal in supporting Munns. They were very supportive of supporting Oliver, and the results were disappointing.
Well, Oliver was an all-in thing because there was history there,
Mhm.
and he was the first commissioner to ever be black, and he would have been the first mayor to be black. If you know anything about Ocoee politics, you would know that he and the mayor never agreed.
Mhm.
It's a very tense relationship, and Oliver simply can't stomach the fact that there's a strong mayor in place.
Sure.
And I mean, listen,
Sure.
I've had a conversation with this guy.
Mhm.
I would not want to run against him. I think this is a bulldog and a person like
Right.
he's going to get his shit done.
Exactly.
So Ocoee wants their shit done. Sorry about the language, but this man is
Mhm.
going to get it done.
Yes.
So he is.
And if you're going to challenge him, you better come prepared.
Yeah, so he came in my office one time, and I got a really good conversation with him. You know, you have to have these conversations because this is an election that's not even, you know, in this year, right? It's not in the even year. It's an odd year.
Right.
So
right.
so you have to be prepared, and you knew, he knew that everything was going to be thrown at him.
Mhm.
He wants to know everything he could possibly do. So we had a conversation.
Right.
So I don't take any credit for it, but I'm saying this is how I meet these people and I get to see these people. Helps my interns. It would help my interns network. It
And
helps people.
and you can't run a campaign right after a general election. The campaigns that were conducted by Oliver and Munns were campaigns that occurred in the last month, it seems, and you can't really pick up any traction in a month before, 6 weeks before, 8 weeks before
David, have you ever
a
wondered?
campaign.
So, David, we voted in November.
Mhm.
Is it? I mean, I work really hard,
Mhm.
but I can't think our nation is so exhausted from voting in November because they've used every bit of energy that they can't be organized enough to remember there's a
Right.
municipal election.
I
Like,
I ran a
I-
special election in 17 days, and I know how hard work it is to do something like that. I've run elections campaigns in 12, 18 months. Hard, it's difficult also. It's just you have to have a different type of mentality when you're on the heels of a general election. You have a municipal election just happening right now. You have to have that mentality that you're going to be running for that office in March, that election in March, a year in advance.
yeah, you have to be running it.
And letting people know, being out there, talking to people, knocking on doors, say, hey, my election's not until March of next year, but I'm here to let you know what my intent is and that I want to represent you. Think about me in March. I'll come back right after the holidays.
Now let's go back to not living in Ocoee. You just ran an election for Congress. You know that's not Ocoee's not in that congressional district. So there's a problem somewhere along the line. Either she was lived in Ocoee and she was running outside the district, which is possible.
Again, it's a flawed candidate, a flawed campaign.
But you
and,
jumped
and,
into
and that's the problem with the Democrats. They don't have a bench, a bench that can win. And if you have to lean on a candidate who is out of the district to try and win
But David,
6 weeks before the election,
I'm going to
it's
defend.
just that's a flawed strategy.
I'm going to come in and defend your Democrats just because I feel like they just need a little bit of help right now.
A little bit.
So the one thing that is interesting is
Now.
these elections are right after we elect our new Rex. So we're in a little bit of discombobulation or something. Like
But it's not
we have.
the executive committees, the Democrats or Republican executive committees that run campaigns.
I understand, but I'm saying these volunteers are all tied up. Some people emotional. Some people listen. I guarantee you that there was a group of people when Charles Hart lost, didn't run again,
Right.
that were disappointed, and they leave.
Okay.
And it takes them some time to come back. But the ones that stay, they enjoy new direction, but it's too fast for that. It's too fast for them. They're not prepared for it. So the campaigns need to be campaigning at that point, saying, remember, this election, when you're done with it, I need you. So if you're disappointed in this election, don't be. Come over and work in my campaign.
They need to be out there a year
Of course
before this March election.
Well,
and letting people know, even if there's some transition and the
David,
Democratic organizations or the Republican organizations, they have to be established and
she was
letting
out
people
there
know
though.
this is. I remember getting messages saying, "Hey, come out and knock on doors for who, for what?" And being a political, I knew who they were asking for and
Yes,
what
I
they
know.
were
Sure.
all about. But the average person, how are you going to get someone who lives all the way in East Orange to come all the way to Ocoee in West Orange and knock on doors, motivate them, persuade them to knock on doors? I just don't see it unless you got a whole bunch of free time and you need to exercise.
Wow.
Wasn't motivating for me. I didn't send people.
I'm not. I'm not
I didn't
motivated.
send dollars.
I'm not motivated. I mean, I had a good conversation with an individual. I
Where
talked to
where was
everybody. So
where I mean where were the electeds, the political influencers, the commissioners, the Orange County mayor or Max Frost, knocking on doors. We needed a Max Frost out there. We
well,
needed
let
a
me
Mayor
clarify.
Demings.
Let me clarify. Maxwell Frost came back. He came back from Washington. If he's doing his job right, because spring break is spring break. All our kids are out of school right now, and God bless my congressman, because my congressman is meeting with the constituents.
I saw that.
So on the 13th, he went all the way out of his way to go
Mills.
into Soto's district to talk to Republicans who are disenfranchised, basically, because they've had Soto for so long, Darren for so long. And it's really funny that he did that, but he loves the people, and he's talking to people. He didn't go down there to just talk to a party.
Mhm.
He went down there to talk to constituents, like people that
Good for Corey.
it's he can't help them,
Right.
but he can get them in the right direction. His staff would be honored to get you the right
Well,
people.
Congressman Frost came back and had a coronation.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes, we had to open our office, and we had to bow down to the Gen Z. Listen,
He played the drums. He had a big crowd. It was his coronation, in the district, and then he's gone.
I've seen him 4 times, 2 times at Hobnobs.
About 2 more times than I have.
I'm just like, I mean,
Right.
we actually went to his office. We actually went to his office and said, "Hey, we'd love to have a conversation with
Yeah.
Maxwell."
No, that wasn't on his agenda.
And then we went back again and said, "Hey, we haven't heard from him yet." Hey, either his volunteers didn't give his message, or
his presence is at special functions or on social media.
it's all about fundraising.
Right.
They never stop fundraising.
That's true. That's very true, especially for at that level.
So everybody, the people we're talking about, be involved in your city. Your municipality needs you, and you need to be a voice in that community. So often I say to myself, I want to be behind the scenes, but at some point, I live in a municipality. I live in Castleberry. I live in the city. If it came to the point where I watch the city commission and I say, absolutely, I mean, I disagree with what they're doing, but I don't disagree. I disagree where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And they understand that this is not a direction that Republicans would typically go through, right? So we're trying to urbanize a bit more. We're building an environment for, young people to move in and be able to walk safely, ride their bikes safely, and we're building more. We're building higher up. So I mean, Castleberry's changing, and they know which direction they want to go, because the citizens have basically said, we want to be the place where if they
right.
this is where your Commissioner Bonilla gets a little pissed off. They want to live in Castleberry. They don't want to live in Orange County. They want to live in Seminole County.
Yeah.
We want to be open to them. So
Well,
we're building houses as fast as we can.
Well, kudos to the folks in Ocoee and Maitland who came out to vote and participated in their civic duty to be engaged and vote for the people they felt that should represent them. For those of you who did not vote,
So
can't
David,
complain.
so David, let's go. Let's go. And you have the stats up.
I have the turnout. Yes.
Okay. So, what was the total turnout for Ocoee?
The total turnout for Ocoee, we had, let's see. Oh, I had to go back. I had it broken down on each issue.
No, that's fine.
There.
We could do that, but I'm guaranteeing you that.
Total turnout for Ocoee was about 14% and 11% for Maitland.
Yeah, but 14%. I want the
You
number.
want the number?
There's a reason I'm gonna play with
All
this
right,
for. I'm just gonna play for this a second.
Let's see where
We're almost done, guys. You
Where
don't
we
have to be
going with
bored
this?
for much longer, but this is where I have fun.
Okay.
So, I mean, you want to do it by
1,500.
so
1,523 for Maitland. Okay.
Oh no, I don't
Total
want. I don't
votes.
want Maitland. I just want Ocoee.
Oh, just Ocoee. 4,289.
Wait, 4,000.
4,289. Yes.
Okay.
And you want the
So-
total
No,
number
no.
of voters? About 30,000.
No, I don't need that.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Listen, I could have won that election with $5,000.
I know.
Oh my God! Like $1 a vote.
Easy pickings.
I mean, if I raised $10,000, I could kick ass in that election. If I raised $15,000,
Yes.
I could walk the whole. I could get the whole place taken care. Listen, people, this is horrible.
Truth.
This is horrible because
Truth.
that we always tell our candidates, you got to raise money. And raising money will get you the votes because we can touch more people. The more times we can touch an individual, I could have won this election
That's right.
by touching people 2 times with a 50-cent stamp.
That's correct.
So everybody, if you want to run for office and you just need to be active in your community, you need to be available and you need to have a fundraising mentality. If you can raise money, then people want you there anyways because they want you to take care of their city. So that's what the point. You're kind of kind of wondering where I was going, but I just wanted to know 4,000.
A well thought out point. The city of Orlando elections are this year. The same thinking applies.
Yeah, I mean, just because Buddy can raise money. Buddy can raise money, and the mayor is up for election. As a matter of fact, I think one of our friends, I don't know if you've even met him, but Randy Ross is
considering.
I think he's considering it, or maybe he's already filed. But I heard the conversation.
Oh boy,
through the grapevine. But I can't look at the city because nobody's fighting.
Easy pickings.
It's going to be the same people.
That's correct.
So until they retire.
And I see these personalities on the socials and everything. It's like, okay, this is cute.
The only reason Ings is not a commissioner right now is because he ran for mayor.
Right.
He's still a great guy.
Yes, he is.
But I have nothing else to say on this one. Other than that, I think we've addressed the same thing we talk about. Local politics are the most important politics. And if you're not engaged at the local level, then how can you really be engaged at the federal level?
Amen.
Take care. Play that rock music.